All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm doing this without an intro because I asked not to have one. Before we start, how many of you have seen me speak before? How many of you are used to a very fun talk where I joke a lot? Great, that is not this talk. That is the only laughter I'll probably hear today, but this talk is called Internet Safety Internally, but it's also, won't somebody please think of the children? This talk, I will give you a warning so you have a chance to exit if you wish right now. I talk about things like suicide, sextortion, blackmail, child sex abuse material, and such. If you are a parent, want to be parent, or you're the local tech support for all your parent group, this is hyper important for you. Because I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to educate you and to show you what is out there in plain and often very brutal forms. So with that, my name is Niall. I am a strategic ATS at Microsoft, where I work as a CTO to Equinor, and I talk and I have an opinion about a lot of stuff, cloud, tech, etc. And before this, I was the head of cybersecurity for Capgemini in the Nordics. I have two kids. My oldest is 13, my youngest is 9, and they've grown up with me as their dad, which means that there's technology in our house. We use it all the time. We have more connected devices in our house than most others. There are on average about 3 or 4 different computers in our house on at any given time, and about another 10 turned off. So they're used to tech. So when they started to kind of adopt technology, use social media or want to use social media, I, because of my security background, said, I need to figure this out. So before we begin, I'm not going to tell you how to parent your kids. If you have kids, I'm not telling you how to parent them. I am literally on the same page in the manual with my children. I'm still figuring stuff out, but when it comes to tech, I am way ahead of a lot of others. And when I talk to parents and where this talk came from, was I was listening to parents who were complaining that they didn't know what their kids were doing online. They didn't know how this stuff worked, and they were completely black boxed by it. And I sat there going, why didn't you learn? And they said, it's too hard. I said, okay, let me show you. So before we begin, so that is the kind of before we begin bit, and now I kind of want to go to my favorite analogy for the internet. It's a scissors. The internet is probably the greatest tool and the greatest weapon we have ever created. On your phone, you can browse all of humans' knowledge and history. You can look at Wikipedia till your eyes bleed. You can see and learn how everything works in the world. And you can also provide great harm. We have seen disinformation. We have seen tactics where people are abusing and bullying people and causing severe harm to others. And when I say I show a scissors, it's because when you give a kid or you give somebody a pair of scissors for the first time, you always say, be careful, don't run, you might hurt yourself. But with the internet, we hand it to people and say, good luck. There is no kind of like guidance. It's, hi, this thing is explosive and we're giving it to you without any guidance. It should come with a warning, but it doesn't. So I'm going to show you a little bit about the way things are and what you can learn from it. So I'm going to start with a little bit on the information side of it, which is most of you are probably aware that social media has an age limit of 13, right? You have to be 13 years old to use Snapchat. You have to be 13 years old to use Google's Gmail. Any type of service. Do you know why? And most people think content. They think it's because stuff on the internet, when you're under 13, you shouldn't see stuff. And it's because of content. It is not because of content. It is not because you might see stuff that's a bit weird. It's not that at all. It is because of something called COPPA, the Child Online Privacy Protection Act. And what COPPA is an act from 1997 in the United States where they said the child's data privacy is more important than an adult's, and the children, which they deemed to be under the age of 13 at that time, their data had to be protected more. What it means in truth is they can't sell your data to advertising until you're 13. Now, if you look at any type of service you use online, when you don't pay for it, what do you pay with? You pay with eyes on screen and advertising. And so for companies where they're looking at saying, okay, we have 12-year-olds, we can't advertise to them, we're going to be audited, and we're going to have to spend more money to protect their data, is it worth it? And they'll go, no. So what do? We say you must be over the age of 13 to look at or use this particular piece of kit. No problem. And everyone goes, sure, I'm over the age of 13, it's fine. Yes, I agree to the terms and conditions. Yes, I did read them, and I agree, and I'm now on Snapchat, and I'm 8 years old. It's fine. No one's going to check. There is no validation. So they said, well, we've done our due diligence. We asked them, were they over the age of 13? They said yes. It's their fault, not ours. They supplied a date of birth. We're good. So it is effectively GDPR for children when it comes. And that is why it is a bit weird, because when I talk to parents and they're saying, oh yeah, they have to be 13, but my child is very mature for 12 or 11, I'm like, it's not because of that, it's because of advertising. It has nothing to do with content. Weren't you listening? And they say, okay. So it's GDPR, that is why it's 13. So once you understand that first construct, it makes life a little bit easier as to why certain things happen. Earlier this year, or late last year, I took my son to a public debate where they said, should the age of Snapchat and TikTok be raised to 15? And it was a fantastic public debate where politicians were talking, kids, as in teenagers, were also giving their opinion on what was going on. The arguments weren't as well formed, but they were logical in the fact that, you know, we use Snapchat as a messaging app. It is our vital way of talking to each other. Okay, should you be 15? But you'll cut off all of us, and we'll probably find another app anyway. Like, fair enough. It was a lot of good back and forth, and I wanted him to see a proper public debate about something that will affect him. He was 12 at the time. I wanted him to understand what the conversation looked like, why he might get a bit upset if something was said, I'm going to raise this to 15. He goes, but why? So he had to learn, and it was good for him to understand. I follow various different social media accounts, and I happened to come across Polity Sylvestre, and they have this great thing where they talk about natreiven and other things, but it says, Vi foreldre har vært naiv lenge nok. Barn på 9 år skal ikke være på social media. For our non-Norwegian speakers, we parents have been naive long enough. Children as young as 9 should not be on social media. I have to agree. I had a parent ask me, said, should my child, was telling me, at 9 years old, should be on the internet or should be on social media, so I want them to get good at it. And my direct response, which I should have said, but I didn't, was, do you let your child drive? Because you are doing the same thing. They'll get good at it, but they're not going to be capable of driving correctly. We teach people how to drive. Social media and this type of, it is not bad. It is just being utilized crazily and effectively by blackmailers and social engineers. We are now getting into the part where it gets gnarly. I will give you one last chance if you want to leave. This is where I hurt you, and this is where I gut punch you. I went through this talk last night with my wife, and she says, Niall, you need to tone this down. So what I'm showing you is the PG-13 edition of this talk. She found me upstairs crying because I couldn't get over the amount of shit I had to deal with to try and make this talk. I'm telling you now, we're all going into it. I'm going to start with this piece of person. I will not say. This is a person by the name of Andrew McCartney. He's 21 years old from Newry in County Down in Northern Ireland. He is one of the world's most prolific pedophiles and sexual abusers that they have caught. Over the case of about 4 years, he has estimated to have blackmailed and catfished 3,500 victims, predominantly teenage girls, with an average age of 12 years old, with the youngest being 4. What he would do is he would connect to them and pretend to be a teenage girl on social media. He would strike up a conversation. And he would engage them and eventually get them to send intimate imagery. As soon as that was done, he would replay back a pre-made threat and threaten them to provide more and more intense and grotesque imagery and videos to him. These included on by their own, with their siblings, with objects and even animals. He was discovered because a 13-year-old girl in Scotland reported this to Police Scotland, and the Scottish police took this very seriously and discovered that it was probably someone in Northern Ireland. So they reported it to Police Service Northern Ireland, PNSI, which launched an investigation. When they broke into his house and discovered him, they found 64 different devices with various accounts and various aliases, with thousands of imagery and videos which he had been sharing and shared from other pedophiles around the world. It amounted to about 40 different countries, with, as I said, 3,500 victims. I cannot describe this in proper terms, so I'm going to let the police officers who talk about it so you can understand.
Each offending followed a very similar pattern. So when he had identified a victim and got that first photograph from them, he actually had a pre-prepared threat saved in his phone, which he would cut and paste into the chat to advise the child that they were now being catfished, that he had their image, and that they had to do what he said or else. You had little girls, sort of an average age of 10 to 12 years old, many times, being threatened in the most depraved way to do these things to themselves and provide McCartney with the images. His offending was round the clock, and it was difficult to know when he actually did anything else. From the beginning of the case, the level of abuse was so horrific that we were fearful that when these children were identified, would they be okay? Unfortunately, our worst fears were realised when we discovered some way into the case that one of the little girls had taken her own life. The real feature of this case is the complete cowardice of McCartney in targeting children who were so young and very vulnerable. We were absolutely determined to bring him to justice, and the bravery of the victims was just an inspiration to us, because as police identified them, they were giving us evidence. Some of the children had raised the alarm, which helped police to actually identify him in the first place. But some of the children, until police knocked the door, they had never told anyone what they'd been through.
He was convicted and sentenced to, I think, life in prison or a very long term. What it wasn't just on the sexual abuse, his actions caused the death of another, which is one of the first times ever an online case has been prosecuted as manslaughter. If you're wondering what social media app he was using, it was Snapchat. Snapchat is probably the most popular messaging app between teens at this time. I had to learn to install it and use it because I'd never used it before. It is not a medium for me. I find it very difficult. I think it's my age. But my son using it, and I needed to understand with him how it works. So we had to go through, and I got him to show me. I got him to show me how he uses it in a very kind of clever way to see how it actually works from his side of view, rather than me as a technician. Here's an example of a conversation between McCartney and a victim. You can see it uses the same language that children will be using. And what are you up to? It's the same type of slang, same type of conversation style. And it ends up with like, hey, can you send me a photo, selfie snap, oh my God, hey, oh you are cute, oh my God. It starts so simple and so innocuous that it leads them to being trusted by the attacker. There is actually a playbook for this to understand how to groom children in this. They're known as lore books, and it is a very aggressive, and it targets very specific mental and body characteristics to make them comfortable to do stuff for you. It starts very easy. These are screenshots that I have found on various various forums. Some of these are support forums. These are not actually the attackers' forums. These are the support forums. And it says, for example, how old are you? Based on this, I'm just 14. I mean, that's not a problem, lol. I'm 25. Any conversation like that. And it can start as so simple as that, and then it'll end up with the more aggressive, bitch, are you ready to pay $500 to my Apple Pay because I'm ready to spoil your life. I'm ready to mail all the damn pictures to handbill. I will also post it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Kik, WhatsApp, Snapchat, WeChat, MeetMe, Scout, and newspaper and TV. You will soon blame yourself. It's an aggressive tactic that forces the blame and fear onto the victim. And this is towards girls, towards guys. I have a list of your friends. I'm just a tap away from posting your information. This terrifies folks. This terrifies children. This should terrify most adults. If I threatened to release private information of you, you would probably be in the same position. Fear kicks in, adrenaline kicks in, and you want to get away. They promise to ruin your life. I have your registered number, and it will ruin your life, and I'm going to make sure your family sees this. This is a goddamn endemic. And unfortunately, for the people that we see, it is affecting men more than women right now. The targeting for scammers, it says, sextortion is growing a threat for teen boys, which has led to at least 20 suicides. Based on the research I did last night, it's actually up closer to 44 in the US alone in the past 2 years. This is Jordan DeMaio. Jordan is what we would nearly consider an all-American. You've probably seen him in some soap opera for the teen heartthrob. He's 17 years old. He's blonde, blue eyes, homecoming king, quarterback. And he was sextorted, blackmailed, catfished. So the timeline for this is astonishing. At 10 p.m., he left his girlfriend Kyla's house. At 10:19, he gets an Instagram message from someone named Danny. Over the course of a couple of messages, he sent a nude photo to Danny, and minutes later, the blackmail began. 3:30 in the morning, he sends his final text message to his girlfriend. 3:38, he sends his final text message to his mother, which says, "Mother, I love you." 3:42, we estimate, or 3:45, he shot himself. And 4 or 5 hours later, he was found by his dad. The last conversation between Danny and Jordan was, "Why are you doing this to me? I am begging for my own life." 10, 9, 8. I bet your girlfriend will leave you for some other dude. I'll be dead, like I want a KMS. Sure, I'll watch you die a miserable death. It's over, you win, bro. I'm KMS right now, because of you. Good, do that fast, or I'll make you do it, I swear to God. His last message to his girlfriend was, "Kyla, I love you so much. I made a mistake, and I wish I could continue, but I can't do this anymore. This was a choice I made, and I must pay myself." He committed suicide. It took a total of 5.5 hours for this to happen. And unfortunately, he's not the only one. All these are victims. All these people lost their life because some person tried to extort them. And the ages are very, very young. 15, 17. Most of them normal-looking kids. No one should goddamn die because they sent an image in error. And this is what we need to fix. If you want to see something, the most heartbreaking, heart-rendering thing you can see, go watch Amanda Todd's last video. She does it via cue cards. It's public, it's a testament to her bravery, but it's a testament to what happened over time. Riley Basford was 90 minutes from being extorted to dead. It takes me longer to drive to Iggersund. When I talk about this, and this is where I had to kind of pull back, and I want to give you something that, if this happens to anyone you know, give them brave. Block the predator. Report the abuse. Ask for help from a trusted adult. Validate and remember the criminal is the only one at fault here, and educate. And this is why I'm educating you. I'm not there to scare you. I'm not there to hurt you. I want you to understand what these people are looking for. It turns out the people who extorted Jordan was a three-person group from Lagos in Nigeria, which was two brothers and another person. They ended up being extradited to the US and charged. The challenge is it's a standard issue playbook, and we're looking at $5,000. 50,000 NOK, give or take. He didn't have it. He went and decided that was it. Unfortunately, it is not just sextortion you can do when you go onto social media. You can also buy really fun drugs. If you know keywords and you use Snapchat, you can type in something like snow and Copenhagen. So what happened here was this particular research group brought brand new phones, brand new SIM cards, set up Snapchat, never been seen before, typed in snow, Copenhagen, and got to like Snowman, we have better delivery than Bring, and use it to connect. You join one person, you then use Quick Add, and it will show you how to add other people who are similar to the person you just add. So in other words, all the drug dealers use the same kind of handles and style, and those people who are connected to one get connected to another. So eventually you'll end up with like Plather, which is like grass, or grunt handler, or even buying steroids. Do this on Snapchat, you can actually find how to find drugs in any city you ever go into. Once you join, there's actually a good type of messaging. You get the story, you get to see what's going on. There's even giveaways. We always heard that the first hit is free. There's even raffles to win stuff. Or you can buy, for example, if you buy 1.5 grams for 100 kroner, for 100 Danish, you can get 100 grams for discount because you're buying bulk. It also leads to other things, for example, like designer shops. Now, there's a common trend right now, which we call reps, or which are better known as fake merchandise. The thing is, it's an entryway for some of this stuff, because once you're buying reps, you're going to be finding yourself to the different areas that will include, for example, how to find better drugs, etc. But once you're there, you will be asked, do you want to make more money? Because you're buying drugs, you have to be able to support the habit. So they're looking for private drivers to deliver. If they discover your age or whatever, you can, for example, hey, we're looking for, you want to earn about 5,000 kroner, you want to do something here. The conversation backwards says, I want you to do things like masturbation videos, strip videos, of course, dirty talking. And if you're thinking, okay, it's a quick way to make 5,000 kroner by just doing one video, great. But it is a very quick way that also can be blackmailed from other things. SnapMap is proving to be a very interesting way to bully folks. We talk about the fact that there are two groups on WhatsApp. There's the group you're in and the group you're not. So when you're in a kind of a group and then you find out there's another group you're not in, you get a bit, oh, that was unfortunate. But like, for example, when my son sees all of his friends in one area and he's not there, he's wondering why he's left out. Exclusion is a horrible tactic and a very strong mental affliction towards young people. They want to be in. My son has terrible FOMO at times. I want to be involved, I want to do stuff, and he gets kind of conflicted about it. We've helped him and worked with this. TikTok is on the rise as a massively challenging area for people with what we call right-wing extremism. PST, Politi Sikkerhetstjeneste, have actually published that it is becoming a difficult breeding ground or difficult for radicalization of young men. What happens is that the pressures on children right now, both with body image and conversations, is very, very hard. Like, I have always said, if you've ever watched my social engineering talks, I talk about the fact that when women are presented that this is the perfect body, men have the similar thing. Unless you have to be sculpted, you have to whatever. They're not getting the same amount of respect, so they go to places where they're perceived as being, you are good. You're hearing the words, you're a good person, we like you. That becomes an echo chamber, and then they're saying you should be like this and make sure everyone proves that you understand. PST have brought it out as part of their, believe it or not, their trusselbilde, as in their threat warnings for Norway. The fact that they're seeing a large increase in radicalization of young men. And it's also leading to, for example, a higher level of criminality. We read in the paper in Vega, there was kids as young as 13 walking around with hand grenades on buses. And it's because they can't be arrested. It's a good thing. I don't believe putting children in jail is a good thing. I believe Norway's kind of view of until you reach a certain age, you should be kind of free to do stupid stuff and then just get a warning from the police, not be slapped in handcuffs. But there is limits as well for this, and we need to kind of find that balance because the exploiters are using those loopholes. So minderåring, younger ages have been radicalized. And they're being radicalized because they're seeing things they like. They're getting conversations, getting attention from people that wouldn't normally give them attention. This is Una. Una's 18. She loves video games and football. She speaks she's finishing school and she speaks multiple languages. And she's completely AI driven. She's fully AI. We're targeting kids at hormone levels and we're just showing them what they think they should be seeing and then using that against them. AI is becoming a massive challenge and becoming a game changer for these sextortionists, where now you have to do it one-on-one. They can scale. They can create a run book that will talk the same way as the kids, talk to them and get them engaged in a proper way with affirmations. Richard talked about the fact that, I got my buddy back when someone brought ChatGPT 4.0 back. We're using this, and attackers are using this. So I decide I'm going to give you a little test. One of these pictures is AI generated. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand based on which one you think. Who thinks it's number 1? Okay, who thinks it's number 2? Not so many. Number 3. The bulk of hands go up for number 3. And number 4. If you put up your hand, you're right. All 4 are AI generated. I do this talk with kids. Now, I don't do the full talk with children. So, by the way, I do this talk for schools and public institutions and FAO and for elder multis and whatever, and I do it completely free. So if your school is interested and wants this talk for parents, I'll do it. I also do the very you version for children, where I talk about how to behave online. But I give them this test and everyone fails. Because the only piece of information it says is there's one person. And they go, but you said one. I said, well, every one of them is They understand and they start to get better with critical thinking. But that's just a picture. There's nothing real about it. What if we make them move?
Want to see your crush kiss you? AI has got you covered. Just upload 2 photos. That's it. Try Reviva for AI kiss, hug, and more.
Now, I'm not knocking on Reviva here, but this was just an example. So what I did as an experiment, I booted up a brand new VM in the cloud. I ran it completely clean. First ever edition ever found. It was Windows 11, new account. Everything was brand new from scratch. Went online, created an account on Facebook and Instagram. Set in my age dates, kind of about 16 years old, because I just didn't want to trip the very young ones. And I went, how long before it starts showing me stupid stuff? How long before it starts showing me thirst traps, half-naked women, kind of just random flashy stuff? And it took about an hour of general browsing. This came up, and I was like, but Reviva is an app for what they say AI enhancing of your imagery. And I'm not sure if this had come up as just a response to my age, that this is something that they want for that age group has been using it for. So I was I'm not sure, but I like the fact is you can actually go onto the App Store and find this app, and it's there, but it's not targeting this particular function, it's targeting something else. But the thing is, if we look at it, how it would be used, think about back to your childhood, when you were in the playground, and someone says, oh my God, you kissed John, you kissed this. I did not. And it just goes round the playground. Nothing too bad, right? But this then will go much more viral because it'll be spread to everyone, because it's digital. And the challenge is that we don't know what is real. And we have technology that's increasing at an amazing speed. Recently, as in the last 2 months. That is a demo done on a standard issue graphics card that most gamers will have. It's using Hugging Face and a standard model out of China. It is a 30 millisecond, one blink delay between rendering or between use and rendering. It even shows the shadows and reflections. It's got so much better and so much more aggressive that it is challenging now to actually work out what's real. Children are facing a much more aggressive amount of information flow than we've ever had. Like, most of us think of the internet, we just browse Instagram, we scroll through Reels, we just do a little bit of doom scrolling, whatever. But children now are getting constant bombardment with information, with trying to be engaged, with also where things start to go out of control. A simple image share between someone else means it's not in your control anymore and it's given to someone else and it goes wherever. Trust becomes very hard to verify. And kids' bullying is 24/7. I will be very open with you. I was bullied in ungdomsskole and videregående. But it stopped when I went home. I was never scared of going home. I was sometimes scared of going to school, but I was never scared of going home. Imagine that the thing follows you home all the time. You look at your phone, you're terrified, you get that ding, that buzz, what's going on? And you have to check it, because if you ignore it, you're walking into an assault in the morning, which makes it even worse. The terror is real. Online sharing and unintended consequences are nothing new. Everyone should recognize this man, Star Wars kid. He's 15 years old, Ghislaine Raza. He was released in 2003, and it's one of the kind of first viral meme videos that has went out. The thing is, what happened was he took the video in his local school, and he left it there, and it was found by his schoolmates who uploaded it to the web. And then it just spread. We have now got the ability to learn what this did to this man.
It has somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 billion views, a number that's still growing. But it was in those first days after shooting this video, something no one was ever supposed to see, that things exploded.
Within about 2 weeks, it was on the cover of the New York Times.
Ghislaine Raza was only 15 years old when classmates found a video cassette he'd shot at school. They uploaded his video to the web and it snowballed. People added sounds and effects, and it kept growing. When producers from Leno and Letterman, and admittedly this journalist, reached out, he and his parents turned down every interview request. The fear was that people weren't laughing with him, but at him.
At that time, when you have a 15-year-old going through this, I'm not convinced more attention was the right remedy.
But the #1 viral video on the internet is the so-called Star Wars kid.
Now, 19 years later, Raza's part of a documentary shining light on a story he never before wanted told. It's not just a look at what happened, but also what it meant. He revisits the trauma, how he had to leave school, and how the media attention forced his family to move out of their home.
I'm just like...
But he also meets one of the people who originally spread the video. American blogger Andy Bea was 25 years old when he saw it, linked to it, and named it the Star Wars Kid.
I have an enormous regret posting the video. I haven't talked to anybody about this. This is the first time, and I'm just profoundly sorry.
Now, that's something Raza never heard from his former classmates, an apology. His family sued the students and settled out of court. He's moved on, he studied law and rebuilt his life. He's never seen the other students again. Now, one sad irony in this story is how his image was used and spread despite being a minor. The law would have protected him better, he says, if instead of making a video, he'd committed a crime. Mike Armstrong, Global News, Montreal.
I showed this video to kids from like 12 years old up to explain to them this is what can happen. And I say, look at your friend beside you and imagine they did that to you and you had to leave. You're here, you leave your home and go somewhere else. And no matter where you went, you were only known as that. And it hits them hard because they get to understand the impact of a single decision. They get to understand that like leaving something out the internet is just letting it on fire and you're hoping it'll be okay. So that is all horrible. I need to give you hope. I need to give you advice. And we're done with the horrible stuff. Breathe. Think. And let's talk. Because that's the most important thing. Talk. Talk to your kids. Talk to the people around you. Talk and encourage this discussion. My son and daughter have grown up in a unique environment because A, I'm not married to anyone else, and B, they're my children. They've grown up where their dad is a cybersecurity specialist. He knows the internet intimately and backwards. He helps people get out of trouble when bad people come in. They know I know more about the internet than they will ever know, which has also meant that I don't have the same challenges as some of you will have. But I'm fairly sure as a technical community, you're probably being asked by other parents. My kids have learned from an early age, we talk about social media, we talk about potential things online, and we talk over dinner where we have a very kind of good rule where we put phones away and we chat. It is often much harder for me to do that than the kids, but we still do it and we talk and we ask questions. My kids understand, short of them throwing the computer out the window and it looking like this, I can fix it. I talked to my son about the bit with Instagram and TikTok and all that. And I said, and this is the conversation. Son, there's something going on where people are asking you never send nude photos to people you don't know in real life. I never said don't ever send nudes. I know that's never going to happen. But what I said is don't send to anyone you don't know. If you can't physically go out and punch them, don't send it to them. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, because people will threaten you with it. If something like that happens, come straight to me. And he goes, okay. I says, I will do my absolute best to be there and protect and help you. I might give out to you. And it's because I'll be scared. I might get upset at you. I might do something. And I need you to learn one thing. And he goes, what? And it's this, time. And he goes, what does that mean? I says, it is a thing I have taught myself. When you do this, I will go back on mission and protect you. This means, Niall, get your shit together, protect your son, protect who's in front of you. I learned this as a bouncer, I learned this when I'm stressed. If I can't get my head together, time. Focus, hit hard, fix the goddamn problem in front of you, and protect your son. And I told him, because I want him to understand I can do it. I'm sorry, I'm a little emotional. But it's important as parents and as adults to be able to give them that skill, that they can come to you and say, hey, something went wrong, fix this. And I'll go, okay, got it, okay, let's go. And we do it. We hit hard, we fix it, and then I'll go and I'll say, okay, how did that happen? Let's not make that happen again. And he understands that, and he knows that's a given from me. It's a hard thing to understand, but he knows he can do it. And we talk, and I ask stupid questions. I say, anything good on TikTok today? Would you show me? You know, we only used SMS back in the day. How are the kids doing it today? We talk because I want to understand. We talk so he can learn, and he knows he can talk to me about stupid stuff. He told me how a meme worked, 6, 7. I sat there bored off my skull, but at least I understood what he was talking about. He showed me one day how he uses Word. I smiled inwardly and grinned and hoped for the best that this would be over, but I'm so glad. That does not count as a joke. I was so glad that he showed and could trust that he was showing me something new. I loved it. But it also means that you as parents need to learn patience. They're going to show you stuff you know, and you're going, I know that. But if they can't trust you to show you the basics, how are they going to trust you to show you the hard stuff? We have a thing where we said friends are people we know in real life. my son is a car nerd, loves looking at cars. And he's in a group with 6 other people. And I said, do you know all the 6? And he said, 5 live in the same, or 4 live in the same other place. One guy lives over in Hundvåg. And I said, okay, who's he? And they said, this is him, here's his number. Quick check, make sure the person was actually real. And it sounds horrible. I mean, you feel like the police officer vetting their son's friends. But I said, let's invite them over. Let's invite them over for dinner. Bring all the 6 of them over. They can play some games together. And then I'll know who they are. And we'll know who they're chatting to. And he goes, that's a great idea. Can we do a car thing? I says, yeah, we'll put on Top Gear and I'll show you the Grand Tour or something. We'll all enjoy it. And he said, that's great. So the kids are all coming over now to watch a Top Gear marathon. Win-win for me. I think it's a great thing to do. But it encourages me to help them understand that people are our friends, are people we know in real life. Let's look at some ducks. It's a bit calming, a bit nice. But it's also a metaphor, because the fact is we learn from watching what our parents do. How we use the net and how we approach the internet is how our children will learn. If we're constantly scrolling, they're constantly scrolling. If we're constantly on it, they're constantly on it. If we're a screaming, raging monster on the internet, they're also the same one. I show my son when people put up stupid comments and go, that person's really nice, but why did they write that? I said, they were upset. They'll delete it and be embarrassed tomorrow, but if you're going to get upset, just walk away. He's a big kid, so he's used to the idea that if someone picks on him or tries to get at him, if he throws a swing, he's going to hurt them, so he just walks away. And I've told him how to manage this. He has challenges, and that's the concept. We have to talk to our kids. We have to talk and get the engagement and understand what they're doing. And if you want to understand what kids are installing, you can go onto Buffdeer and actually look. Like the most common thing is YouTube, followed by Google and Snapchat. Vips wasn't there up until 2024 when it became allowed that kids can use it and will share money and do stuff that. They don't use cards, they'll use Vips. They send everything. If they want to buy scooters, they want to do something, they have to use it that way. But at least when you understand what they're using, you can understand what you need to learn about. It's really hard. There's so many apps out there and so many technologies that it's a challenge. And people say, well, what about you doing all these kind of mad controls on systems? Like, can I lock it down so hard that I can make it work? And I'm like, you can, but you can't control everything. You cannot control everything on their phone. No matter what you do, they will find a way around it. My mother told me a great story. She said, like, when my grandmother died, we were sitting down, we were taking a glass of wine together, and she says, if my mother only knew how much crap I got up to as a child, she would have beaten me senseless. And I said, what do you mean? He says, I used to sneak out in the middle of the night. I'd open the window, hop out the window, and I'd be back home 2 or 3 hours later. She wouldn't know any different. And I went, when did you tell her that? Just before she died. I said, okay. And I said, all right. She says, Niall, I know I'll never know everything about what you did as a kid, and I never want to. We have to have a few secrets, but there's also, if we were too strict, you would have done worse. I went, yeah. Humans are invariably good. If you put too strong rules in place, they will find a way around it. Children even more so, and they will share how to do it. It takes massive amounts of skill and precision to put all these controls in place where it doesn't become a pain in the ass for you as a parent to understand what you need to do. Apple changed recently in iOS 26 how they look at years. So my son had to come back after his upgrade and had to enable Snapchat, Spotify, and everything else because there was a date issue. And I'm a technical person. I know what I'm looking at. I can read the docs. But if you're not, how are you meant to help? So you just leave it open. And that's where the challenge starts. When it becomes too hard or you don't have the skill, you need to learn. So we have tools. We have the things like the family sharing. My son has this for all our devices, and it's predominantly not for control mechanisms. It's so we can understand where his bloody device is if he's left it somewhere. We have a very interesting thing. He can send me a text message with the Batman icon. If he sends me with Batman, it means come find me and get me. If he sends me with the Joker, it's come find me and be angry that you found me. Which means his friends, your dad's an asshole. Yeah, but I had to go, man. Like, you saw how angry he was. He didn't lose face. It's, get your ass in the car right now, you stupid dipshit. And he's like, thanks, Dad. You want a Coke? Yeah. But why is that there? So he doesn't lose face. He doesn't look like he's kind of wimping out. But he's got it. And that's the thing we've used. And all he has to do, he doesn't have to tell me where I am. He'll just send me just a smiley face or an emoji, and I know what to do. It's a call sign. The bat logo goes up, come in and rescue me. Joker sign comes in, get me out of here and look crazy. Family sharing, also very good with Google. Has the same option. And believe it or not, there's also one on Windows. For many people, they don't realize this. Snapchat has a family sharing system. I use it with my son. We told him it's on it, and we tell him why. It's not because we want to see what you're doing. We want to see who you're talking to in case there's someone we don't recognize, and we'll ask you. But if you're talking to someone new, tell us. We're not going to get upset that you're having conversations with friends. What we're going to have upset with if you have conversations with people we don't really know, and we're worried that there's something going on. And I said, chat. So he does. And we talk. He shows us. We're in a family chat group. We send stupid snaps all the time. With family pairing inside in TikTok, you can do the same thing. You can keep an eye on what they're doing. And if you have a teen on Instagram, use the teen accounts. This is very handy. A lot of people don't realize these services exist. And you, as technology professionals, are probably, as I said at the start, going to be the center for folks who don't know about tech to be asked. And it's up to us, around us, to help protect everyone. It takes a village. One of the biggest challenges you will find when you become and deal with this thing is very often the choice is taken away from you, not by the kid, but by someone else's parent. They will say, my kid got this. And you're like, crap. Because that means every kid's got to get this. And that becomes a challenge. How do you be the person that says no? I had a conversation with a parent who says, it's very hard to say no. I said, I say no a lot to my kids. But with this stuff, I was very strict, and I was very strict from early, that they're not going to get these social media apps till they're 13, and they have to listen to myself and your mother about how this works and what we expect from you when you're using it. Cool. Discord. Any gamers in the house? Any gamer kids in the house? Any of them using Discord yet? Be very careful of Discord. And it's not because I'm rapping on Discord. The app itself is very good. The problem is it is too bloody good. It supports voice, it supports video, it supports chat, it supports desktop sharing. And unfortunately, it's a very common place to find people who are grooming, because Discord is where people are involved in the game, and if you're involved in playing Fortnite or Roblox, we can target you based on that to kind of give you something you want, and we know you want it. So it is I always say, when you're using Discord with kids, please use the Discord Family Center. Make sure you understand and tell them not to talk to people online they don't know. Again, friends are people we know in real life. It is fine to have your own Discord with your friends. When my kid was young, he wanted a Minecraft server, so I set one up. It was completely controlled by me, and his friends could all connect. It shut down at 9 o'clock because it wasn't on 24/7. It was running in Azure. I ran up a Minecraft server. He could play with his friends, and all the parents knew there was only those people involved, no one else. When he became 13, he wanted to use Discord. We had a very strong conversation about what to expect. And I said, listen, I have your login and I can see it. I'm not going to do it, but I will let you know that I might have to drop in once in a while just to make sure. It is not just, it's like me just checking his room. I said, but I am worried about Discord, and I told him why. And he said, if you're worried, I should be worried. And I said, that's a good way to look at it. If I'm not worried about something, we can work on it. Xbox, for most of you, probably say, can I have more screen time? No's to this. Same with PSN. Same with Nintendo Switch. And then you have Roblox. General groan here tells me a lot. Roblox is not a game, it's a platform. It's a creator platform where kids and other people can create applications and games which others can play. The thing with Roblox right now is it's extremely popular, even considering the really crap graphics it has. But it's because people want to be the next super admin and run this cool game where they're going to make millions from Robux. the in-game currency. Now, the fact is that if any of you have had or have children playing Roblox, please don't do what I did. I'd accidentally set up that my son could authorize on my credit card. Thankfully, it was on my, what we call my slush fund card, which is my wife and I split our accounts, only that I get a certain amount of money to go and buy a limited amount of Lego every month. He stole all that. It was my fault because I had a rule in Outlook that just shipped those notifications to a spam folder because I was using it, so I knew what I was doing. I didn't realize that it hurt me. It hurt my pride more than he was upset with me for not giving out to him. And my wife had to explain to him, he's not upset at you, he's upset at himself, as in me, I'm upset at myself, because he made a mistake that he should have caught. I said, I'm fine that you did that, you just didn't know. I've not done a proper job as a parent in this one. And he was very surprised that I wasn't screaming at him. I said, because you didn't understand, and I should have had the controls and the proper procedures in place. If you go back to Roblox, Roblox has an in-game currency called Robux. Robux are what you buy the stuff with. There's currently a massive amount of accounts being created to entice children to send child sex abuse material, naked images of themselves, in exchange for Robux. And it can be done in-game, and they're saying, hey, you want to get the latest thing, please take a photo of yourself and I will send you 200 Robux so you can buy that cool thing you want. They killed 35,000 accounts in the last thing, and it's currently working in tandem with Discord. So please be careful, talk to your children about it. I talk to my kids about this in a very open thing about it and say, listen, if someone asks you for this, please don't do it, show dad. Finally, WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram honestly don't have a lot of controls. And if you're using them very often they're the common ones used by a lot of sports groups, etc., for sharing, and people don't realize that once you give them open, they can do other things. Specifically the likes of Telegram. Telegram has automation. It's used to share a lot of information. Signal, you shouldn't really be running encrypted apps when you're 13 on your phone. Even though I agree with message privacy, I still believe that you should be kind of not running with what other people do that way. Folks, this is a tough talk. It's hard for me to deliver it. It's hard for probably people to hear it. But ultimately, we need to create that environment where people around us can talk to us without judgment. Understand that you are going to make mistakes. Understand, I told you mistakes I've made, and I'm supposed to be the bloody goddamn expert here. And I do it because I want people to understand that we are trying to protect and help children and also help the adults so that our kids are protected. They make a mistake or they make something wrong, and all of a sudden we have to deal with the fallout. So what I want from all of you here is to take the time to talk to your people around you, help and encourage, and say, listen, you know this thing is difficult. Let me help you. Let's spend a little time. Get friends over for coffee. Show them all the cool little controls that they've never learned. Show them how to do cool stuff with this. You don't need to be tech support. I give these talks at FAO, and I give them and I generally get parents coming back, can you look at machines for me? I said, no. I said, why not? It's a school's machine. It's not, I can't touch this. If you have a problem with this, first off, have you talked to the kid? No. Now, I had a very distraught parent ask me about it, and I said, but she says, I'm divorced, and the father and I don't talk very well, and there's two different sets of rules. And I said, I honestly can't help you with that. I said, I don't have experience in that. I'm not trying to say anything bad. I said, I just don't know. I think it makes more sense maybe if you go talk to maybe the social workers or other thing. I don't know what to do with this. And she was like, thank you for your honesty. I wasn't giving her a ton of advice. I just didn't know how to deal. I don't know how to deal with split homes or combined or blended homes. I don't know. So I say I don't. But create that era for talking. All the details I shared are on a GitHub repo, which is on that HelloStavanger URL, which you can download. It'll give you a link to every single one of all the sites. It'll give you information from Polity, from Bufdir, from Mediatilsynet, from all the different Norwegian professional organizations. And it is, I am accepting pull requests, so if you find information you'd like me to put in, we will put it in, and I'm absolutely love if you did. I want us as a group to be better and make everyone do good things. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, won't somebody please think of the children? Done.